Chapter 5. 113. War Council. Soon, he was able to make out the silhouettes of 7 people walking across the chain. They were led by a delicate beauty in a light, polished armor, her pale blonde hair dancing in the wind. Cassie walked with her eyes covered by the silver half-mask, her hand resting on the hilt of the quiet dancer. If Sonny didn't know that she was blind, he would have not suspected it. The Firekeepers had returned from their lengthy expedition to the desecrated grove. In the end, it took them almost 2 months to find whatever they had been searching for on that remote and ghastly island. And now, it was time for Sonny to join them in the assault on the ancient shipwreck. He grimaced. After 2 months spent without returning to the real world, members of Cassie's cohort looked weathered and exhausted. They were covered in dirt and dust, and their armor bore marks of countless battles. However, these young men and women seemed to be healthy and in good mood. There was a spring to their steps, and as they got closer, Sonny could see smiles on their lips. 2 of them were carefully carrying a large box fashioned out of crude wooden boards. He assumed that it contained the thing Cassie had spent 2 months looking for. Sonny tilted his head, curious. What might it be, I wonder? Eventually, they noticed him, too. Cassie slowed down a little, and in the next moment, the Firekeeper walking behind her gently touched her on the shoulder and said something. Then, he gestured toward Sonny and waved a hand. Sonny sighed and dismissed the memory of fire. People. In the 6 months spent on the Chained Isles, he had gotten accustomed to only dealing with other awakened in small doses. Knowing that he was going to have to be in the company of relative strangers for a while and fight with them side by side did not make Sonny happy. In that regard, Mordred had been a perfect companion. He only appeared once every few days for a short while, helped Sonny with advice, and then disappeared without a trace, not asking for anything in return. If only all relationships could be so simple. Sadly, the mysterious prince was still nowhere to be found. Sonny had not heard from him ever since returning from the ivory tower, almost making him think that he had simply imagined the whole thing. The mirror shard he kept in the covetous coffer reminded him that he had not, though. Sonny forced a smile to appear on his face and waved at the Firekeepers in return. "Welcome back, guys. It's good to see you." Sort of. After the Firekeepers had time to clean themselves up and fill their stomachs, they gathered in a spacious room provided to them by the White Feather clan. Sonny looked around the room and signed inwardly. Why were his own quarters so tiny? Even if his true name remained a secret, Sonny was still an SS class, awakened. Where was his preferential treatment, huh? The large wooden box was placed in a corner, and the 7 awakened gathered around a table. He hesitated a little, then joined them. "Hey, Sonny, how have you been?" Sonny remained silent for a few moments, then said in a neutral tone, Busy. Really busy." The young man who had asked him the question smiled. "Really? What's keeping you busy?" Sonny summoned his runes and glanced at a particular string. It read, "Shadow Fragments, 1936 over 2000. He sighed. "Huh? All kinds of things. Haven't you heard? I am the most indispensable shopkeeper on the Chained Isles. By the way, if any of you want to purchase something, just let me know. Toothpaste, spices, underpants. We have it all." The Firekeepers gave him strange looks, then laughed. "What's so funny? That's a legitimate business, you fools." Shaking his head, he glanced at the table, where a map of the Chained Isles was placed, with possible routes to the shipwreck island marked on it. From the look of it, they were well thought out and as safe as could be. A somber expression appeared on his face. "So you were really serious. We are actually planning to attack a corrupted monster in its lair." Cassie gave him a nod. "Indeed." He sighed. "Let me ask you this. Are you However, then, Sonny fell silent without finishing the question and suddenly cleared his throat in embarrassment. The blind girl frowned. "Are you all right?" Sonny waved a hand. Yes, don't mind me. Oh, right, you haven't been back to the real world in a couple of months." One of the Firekeepers raised an eyebrow and asked with confusion, Sure? Why is that important? Sonny looked at him with an unreadable expression. It's not. Don't worry about it. No, really. Anyway, let's get back to the corrupted monster. How much do you guys know about that thing? Cassie lingered for a few moments, then said, We know its rank and class, the general characteristics, and a few details that the White Feather clan had shared with us. Master Roan had thought the thing in the past, but only briefly. Sonny looked at her, then shook his head. Well, I don't know what he told you, but I've seen that monstrosity in action with my own 2 eyes. So let me paint you the picture. He pointed to the shipwreck island on the map, and said in a dark tone, The wreck is situated in the center of the island, and the creature itself made it a nest in its main cargo hold. Don't think that you'll be safe before we reach the ship, though. Actually, its vines stretch beneath the ground throughout the whole island. He paused, and then added, Since it's a corrupted monster, most of you won't even be able to cut the vines, let alone sever them. You don't have the Dawn Shard augmenting your memories anymore, after all. However, if you do manage to cut the vines, each cut will produce a cloud of poisonous mist. There will be poison in the air whether you cut them or not, though, especially inside the wreck. There, breathing is almost impossible. With each word he said, the Firekeepers grew more and more serious. However, they were still in too good of a mood. What is wrong with these idiots? Sonny cleared his throat. Oh, and by the way, there are other nightmare creatures on the island, too. Big, nasty, fallen beasts called sailor dolls. He hesitated, and then said, Well, if there is one good about the whole situation, it's that the creature in the wreck usually slumbers until one of its vines is disturbed. Cassie told me that it is weak to fire. So my suggestion would be to just burn the whole ship down, and the scary bastard with it. The Firekeepers glanced at each other with strange expressions. Cassie remained silent for a bit, and then said awkwardly, No, we can't burn the ship. Sonny blinked a couple of times. And why, pray tell, is that? She turned her head to the large wooden box in the corner, lingered for a moment, and then answered, Because we are going to repair it.